Welcome to Radically Loved Radio. I am your host, Rosie Acosta, yoga teacher and teacher trainer, mindfulness coach, speaker, and creative writer. I am also the founder of radicallylove.com, a website where you can go for more information about yoga, mindfulness, meditation, and lifestyle advice. On this podcast, we talk to people within our health and wellness community that are creating content through the ritualistic practice of yoga, meditation, or overall mindful living. We hope to create value in your life so that you can achieve your highest potential and live a radically loved life. To stay in touch with us, just follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Rosie Acosta and on Facebook at Radically Loved Rosie. You can sign up for our newsletter on radicallylove.com to stay up to date on future workshops, retreats, and latest podcasts. I hope that Radically Loved Radio leaves you feeling inspired to create something powerful. My teacher, Yoga Rupa Rajstreger, says, if you powerfully believe in the value you have to offer the world, your love and passion for it will be an unstoppable force. Thanks for listening. Hey everyone, I am so excited to be back home in LA. We just came back from Mexico doing our retreat. That was awesome. The focus was on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and it got me thinking why I haven't actually had an episode dedicated to what yoga really is. And so I figured, why not do that now? We had such a great time learning about this text, which is one of my favorite texts. I actually got my first Yoga Sutras book when I was in junior high at this really cool little boutique new age bookstore called the Bodhi Tree that was on Melrose. We would ditch school and take the bus down to Melrose, and we would cruise Melrose and always end up at this awesome little bookstore that's no longer there, unfortunately, but it was so cool. I remember getting all into the metaphysical books and all the cool art books and coffee table books. And so that was my first introduction to this particular text. This is how I actually really began to learn about what yoga really was. And part of what kept my interest was really this idea that we were responsible for our own happiness, something that I hadn't really been able to explore on my own. And it was something extremely enticing for me because I always knew that there was something deeper and something more vast than I was learning, just being raised in a very sort of religious-centric Catholic household. And, I began to study and learn about it. And this particular text was one of my initial enticers, if you will. So what are the Yoga Sutras anyway? I mean, they're basically a compilation of short and instructive sentences. They're designed to help explore and explain yoga and how it works and how it might be practiced and what the benefits are to the practitioner. It's created in 4 chapters and they've got 4 different threads. And the first one being about contemplation, the second about practice, the third about accomplishments, and the fourth one about liberation. And so really what the sutras tell us is that you might think that, this will draw out a series of poses or it's designed to help create a certain type of ritual. But in fact, it's actually written for different types of students so that you can really find what type of practice you need and the type of practice that is going to work for you. I find that its application is very accessible. And so we can apply this Yoga Sutras into our practice in a way that's going to help us sort of understand even yoga as we understand it in the modern day, right? So it's not just about being able to be flexible in your body. It's really about connecting that mind, body, spirit connection and being able to learn how to integrate all of the parts of our spiritual path into our lives. One of the things that I really love about this text is how it does speak to different students, and there are different ways to achieve this integration. Sutra 1.2 is my favorite. It's yoga's chitta vritti nirodha, and that means that yoga is the stilling of the fluctuation of thought. And so only then can your yoga practice begin. And so what it's essentially saying is that your practice will begin when you can focus on what your intention is, when you can sort of circumvent all of the worry and the stress and the stuff that's happening in your life and really put that energy into something that's going to be more constructive, that's going to be geared towards your spiritual development. This text is really about refining your mind and being able to achieve higher states of concentration and higher states of focus. So if it's something that you're interested and curious about, I definitely suggest picking up this read. To me, it's like I always think about this, especially when I see my teacher or I go to any workshop. Why is it that we can ask for help when something goes wrong with like our car? We take it to a mechanic, or our technological device isn't working, or we're sick, we go to a doctor. Why is it that we feel we can intuit our way around our spiritual path or our spiritual development? This is the one thing that I always found so fascinating, and this is one of the reasons why I love to study this text, especially in the state that we're in. I feel like it's definitely something that we need to have guidance on. You always want to follow somebody whose light's just shining a little bit brighter than yours, not somebody who's going to say, hey, I have all the answers, I have it all figured out, but just someone who could maybe help shine an extra light in an area of your life that you're struggling with. So anyway, this is what we talked about during the retreat. It was so much fun to be able to have an actual discussion around how these sutras actually apply to all the areas in our lives, be it relationship, our own personal practice, how we achieve a deeper sense of connection to ourselves and getting to know ourselves. One of the other sutras that is my absolute favorite is in the second chapter, and it's Sutra 2.17, and it's really about getting to know your true self. The translation is roughly, the cause of our suffering is the inability to distinguish between what is truth, so what we perceive, and what appears to be the truth, what is perceived. So it's this idea that we can actually achieve a higher sense of self, where we can look past our own limitations and maybe the limitations of the people around us, and help us understand that we are all connected in a larger tapestry, and that we are so much more than what our mind tells us. So I thought I'd just kind of give you just a tiny bit of insight as to what we did during the retreat. If you missed it, don't worry. We're going to be doing a course on the Yoga Sutras this fall. So if you are interested in learning more about this topic, just stay tuned. You can sign up for my newsletter for more information. And I hope that this helped provide some insight as to why this practice is so important to me and why it has potential to add value into your life. Thanks so much for listening. Do you want to go on an epic yoga adventure? I do. In fact, I do all the time. When do I not want to go on an epic yoga adventure? And this fall, in an attempt to see the Northern Lights, we will go to Iceland into a journey through the chakras. It's going to be fun. If you're curious, you can email me at rosie@radicallyloved.com, or go to the show notes and click the links to each of the retreats, or you can go to radicallyloved.com. See you soon. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I am so excited to continue to do this. Please share this with your friends. Email us, message us on Instagram at Rosie Acosta or on Twitter at Rosie Acosta. Subscribe on iTunes, write a review. We love doing this, so please help us continue to keep this podcast going. Thanks for listening.